Most of the data and graphs are from this report, and you can see the flyers in the back. So we know that we need to drastically reduce emissions, and if all other sectors actually did that and we did nothing in the livestock sector, by 2050, the livestock sector would take up 81% of our so-called carbon budget. So this is quite serious because the livestock industry is clearly not going in the direction that is required. So we did this report with Brain, it came out in June, and we calculated the emissions of the top 35 meat and dairy corporations. These are the companies that move livestock and livestock products all around the world. And what we found was quite shocking. The top 20 meat and dairy corporations emit more than Germany, several OECD countries, Canada, Australia, UK, and France. Even more shocking is that the top 5 dairy and meat companies combined emitted more emissions in 2016 than ExxonMobil, Shell, and BP. So we never think about these companies as huge emitters, and they're conveniently hidden behind the idea of food security and nutrition. That's what always comes up. We're feeding the world. There's a lot of people who are hungry that need our products. But we really need to question that seriously. And Kevin did a great job talking about the top 10%, the top 20%, and in our research, we clearly show that. So if you look at who are the key producers and over-consumers of livestock products, you'll find that this is a highly concentrated industry, and only a handful of countries in the EU are responsible for this, and also have the capability to address these problems. So when it comes to beef, right, we think about cattle as the highest emitter. EU and 5 other countries produce over 70% of the beef in this world. US, Brazil, and Australia, so just 3, are responsible for nearly half of all beef exports. In pork, the situation is even more concentrated. The US, EU, China combined produce 80% of the world's pork, 80%. And these 3 plus Canada are responsible for 91% of global exports. So it doesn't take rocket science to figure out who needs to get their act together to cut these emissions. The situation is not different for chicken, but unfortunately what I've seen in the last couple of days and what I've seen in the dairy side event sponsored by New Zealand was that they're going to cut emissions of Kenyan cattle raisers because they have 2 or 3 cows that really produce very inefficiently. So if we just dealt with all those women and farmers that have 2 or 3 cows and we cut their emissions, then we could really reduce emissions from the livestock sector. And that is just simply appalling. And we really need to address that. So, livestock emissions. Oops. This slide, really quickly, is what companies are reporting as their emissions and what we calculated. So if you look at the biggest producer, JBS, our emissions are like 2,000% more than what JBS calculated for its emissions. So clearly, in terms of accountability of the sector, we've got a long way to go. So let's talk about livestock emissions. We hear about methane a lot. Nearly 83% of livestock emissions come from methane and nitrous oxide. And methane is about 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide. And nitrous oxide is nearly 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So actually, rapid action in the next 10 years, in this sector in particular, would have massive impacts on our carbon footprint. And let's talk about nitrogen in particular. This is a complicated graphic, but I can explain it. So what that shows is it's about 1.5 gigatons of emissions coming from the nitrogen. And nitrogen is about 30% if you just look at feed production of the livestock emissions. So it's not that much more than methane, right? 40% methane from enteric fermentation, which is cow burps, and then 30% from feed production, and then there's additional methane and nitrous oxide from manure. So what we see with the livestock sector is that actually nitrogen or nitrous oxide is produced twice. Once when you produce fertilizer, there's a lot of leakage. This is an area that's not really studied very much. And when you actually apply this fertilizer on the fields when you're producing feed, and then again, nitrous oxide when livestock depose manure on the fields. And what we find is over-application of this manure, right? We're in the EU and in the US, we have massive factory farms that have a large quantity of pork or cows, or cattle, beef cattle, and they don't know what to do with all of that manure. So then it's applied into fields, and that produces nitrous oxide. But it also produces a lot of other things. So this is a picture of the dead zone, the largest dead zone, means non-oxygenated area off of the Gulf of Mexico. That is 6,000, anywhere between 6,000 to 7,000 miles. Okay, it varies. And this is the result of all the nitrogen and phosphorus that in the United States we've dumped into these water bodies. What we see worldwide, though, if you look at those red dots, are those dead zones all around the world. And you can see a quite clear correlation between industrial livestock production or industrial agriculture and where you see the dead zones. So you can see it very clearly around the United States, around Brazil, around the other area in Chile, up north. You can definitely see it in the EU. Farmed salmon, anybody from Norway? Right off the coast of Norway, there's a lot. And you see it around China and Australia. So it's very critical. And what's really scary is that there was an article that came out in Science at the beginning of the year is that we're also seeing feedback loops, right? So climate change is already depleting oxygen in the oceans. You get these dead zones in there, and you're going to get more release of nitrous oxide. So there is this ripple effect that we need to begin to understand and get our heads around. And what climate change is intensifying hurricanes, and and what we saw in North Carolina is a breach of these manure lagoons I told you about. So then we get more nitrous oxide. And farmers were emptying out these lagoons so to prevent the flooding. And what does emptying out the lagoons mean? More nitrous oxide in the air, which then flooded into water and soils. So there are some serious implications about how we handle this. So you saw this, Kelsey brought this up. Clearly, social justice and equity are at the heart of the matter. The people in the countries that are going to solve this problem are not the farmers with 2 or 3 cows or the pastoralists in Africa and other parts of the world. This is an industrialized country and a wealthy population problem, and we need to solve it there. And there are solutions, and this is what we outline in the Missing Pathways report in Clara. There are a host of different approaches that we can have. This one study about adaptive multi-paddock grazing by Stanley et al. In 2018 actually talks about in the United States and other countries where there's so much intensive cattle raising, what can we do? Rotational grazing and then adapting to what the forage quality looks like. There's also the ecological leftovers approach, raising livestock on byproducts, so not feeding them cereal, not feeding them soy, and deforesting and degrading land, but actually using byproducts that we can't, that we humans don't need or want. And yes, less and better, less is more. I believe Greenpeace's campaign thing is less is more, less and better. There are a lot of small holders who integrate livestock into their farming systems. We're not asking them to stop doing that. It's a whole different way of doing agriculture, and animals play a critical role in farming systems. But what you see on the left-hand side is what we don't don't want, and what we see on the right-hand side is what we need to shift to. Finally, and something that's very clear in the Clara report, climate change is not going to be a linear process when it comes to agricultural production. Agriculture is going to be devastated by climate change, and those frontline communities should be our key priority in terms of what we do for adaptation. And I should also point out that this industrial system that relies on very simple and a few genetic variations is highly, highly vulnerable. And therefore, this idea that industrial agricultural production is going to continue to feed the world, we need to really just throw out the window. Because I think climate change is bringing us to a brave new world, and we do need these other approaches. And I do believe we can make it happen. So here's the Clara report, and it shows how these various approaches can actually get us there. Thank you very much.